Hey, welcome back to today's video. We're going to have a look at JMA Friday today. So, looking at the month ahead, takes us into May, can you believe? So, it won't be long before we go into the summer, heading into the last month of spring with this update. We'll also have a look at today's weather and the pollution. So, a lot going on. But before I get on with that, just to say about the ads, there's links to articles on all of the pages at gazwebs.com. Have a browse through the widgets. Any articles that you're interested in, please click through the articles. Widget sits just underneath the video here on the home page. Because you're going from Gazwebs to wherever that article is, we get a revenue fee on what you're doing. So thanks so much for doing that. Also, video ads on many pages now. They open out within the written content. So have a watch of those. Only around 20-30 seconds in length. They're proper TV commercial ads. So have a quick look at those. And again, you'll be helping to pay for the website. These things essentially allow me to sit here and talk to you via Gazwebs. So if you could get involved, well, thanks very much for doing that. The charts that we're using for the update, you can find the links to those on the links page, the JMA and the CFS. And just enjoy the video, really. It's going to be quite a long one, but I hope you enjoy it. Right, we're going to start off with today's temperatures, and very warm day for time of year. The latest GFS has indicated temperatures for this afternoon to be reaching 19 degrees at best, that's 66 Fahrenheit, but I think that's a bit underdone. Could probably increase that a little bit more, maybe to 21. 21 is 70 Fahrenheit. It's around the average temperature at the end of June. So, proper taste of summer today. Much, much higher than you would expect on the 10th of April. But there is a price to pay for that. It's in the form of the air quality. So this chart tells you what the air quality is like. It's from DEFRA, and you can see that the Scotland and Northern Line, it's okay. We're in those yellow and green colours there. But down across England and Wales, that's where we've got the trouble in these vibrant sort of reds, pinks and purples. That's telling us we've got very poor air quality, indeed a lot of pollution being drawn out of the continent with these southerly winds. So if you've got any respiratory problems, well, do take care today. Boost your inhalers, for instance, because it's going to be a pretty nasty day in terms of the pollution, particularly, of course, centred around the cities and particularly centred around London. Very nasty air quality down there. It's a one-day only thing, though, because we go through to tomorrow, the air quality will improve a lot. This is the chart for tomorrow. You can see the whole country back in those green and yellow colours, so much better air quality tomorrow as we turn the winds into west and draw the air in off the Atlantic, blow away all of that pollution back into the continent. Okay, let's have a look at the JMA for the next month then. This is the 500 millibar height anomaly chart for the coming week. This takes us from the 10th to the 17th of April. As you know, blue extrapolates to low pressure and orange, yellow colours extrapolating to high pressure. So for the coming week, we find that we've got a ridge sitting around the UK, and just to the south, a trough is in the central part of the Atlantic, and the jet stream is sort of going north like that. So we're on the warm side of the jet, we're close to the ridge of high pressure. It's going to be a very pleasant week indeed coming up. The best of weather will be in the south, close to that ridge. It'll be a little bit more unsettled near the jet stream up to the north and west. But overall, that's a pretty decent anomaly for the coming week. So if you have a look at the next week period, this one takes us from the 17th to the 24th. We see a change takes place here. We send the ridge down into the central part of the Mediterranean, so the ridge sort of collapsing going southwards, and we're bringing in the low pressure from the Atlantic. The jet stream is probably running more or less through the country like that. So the jet stream is coming southwards, bringing that trough of low pressure. It essentially means it's turning cooler and more unsettled through the third week of April, a change to more unsettled conditions taking place. And then we go through to the final 2-week period, going from the 24th of April to the 8th of May. And not great, really, this one. We've got the trough of low pressure then centred over the country and it extends back into the Atlantic. The jet stream is sort of going south here, so we're on the cool side of the jet, actually, and we're in about a trough. It's not going to be great. It'll be unsettled, and the temperatures will be on the disappointing side as well. We can actually see how the temperature and precipitation stacks up with those 500 millibar heights from these charts. This is the mid-latitude view. So this is the first weekly period. 500 millibar height normally first, but we know got that ridge sitting to the south of the country and very close to the UK, the trough up to the north, and the jet stream generally going to the north of the UK as well. So yeah, the high pressure is sort of dominating for the course of the coming week. That means that the temperatures come out generally above average. You're going to be quite a warm week coming up. We can see those yellow colours there, particularly focused across England and Wales. But most parts of the country should be warmer than average through the coming week. And the precipitation normally is a little bit wetter than average in the north and west, but it's drier than average in the south and southeast. So that's how the temperatures and precipitation stack up through the course of the coming week. Generally quite a pleasant week ahead. But as we go through to the second week period, remember this one is from the 17th to 24th, and it's showing that change with the trough and the jet stream coming back in. So it means that the rainfall goes above average. We go above average with the rainfall in those blue colours. That's because the jet stream's moving down across the country, and the temperature anomaly is lowering as well. So the north and west is going cooler than average, and we're just round the average across England and Wales, generally turning cooler and more unsettled for all of us through that weekly period. And then as we go through to the final 2 weekly period, remember this takes from the 24th of April to the 8th of May, well, we see that we have a wetter than average week, a couple of weeks. It's not surprising because we've got the trough sitting over the country with jet stream going to the south. So you would expect rainfall anomalies to be going above average, and indeed that is what the model is showing. And the temperature anomaly is going significantly cooler than average as well for the end of April into the start of May. We're all in those blue colours that extend through the country. So a cooler and wetter than average into April and start to May is on the cards if the Japanese model is right. Let's see how CFS V2 compares to the JMA. We start off with the 500 millibar heights for the coming week again, so this is the 9th to the 15th of April, and it's almost identical really. The ridge is there to the south, centred just to the south of the country, but extending in across most of the UK. The trough is in the Atlantic, the jet stream is to the north of the country, so on the warm side of the jet, the gross ridge of high pressure. Again, very good representation of the weather through the coming week, and virtually identical between the CFS and the JMA. Now, for the next weekly period, going from the 16th to the 22nd, remember this is the period where the JMA is seeing a change. Well, the CFS is also seeing a change. It's not quite the same as the JMA, but the ridge is going southwards in towards central parts of the Mediterranean, but it's also retrogressing a bit in central part of the Atlantic. Remember, retrogression is when you take pressure from east to west, as opposed to the normal sort of zonal flow, which is to go west to east. So there's signs of the high pressure going into the central Atlantic and also slipping down to the southwest. That allows this trough of low pressure to form across Scandinavia and would turn the wings into the northwest or the north, something like that. And the jet stream with that is probably going something like that. So we are bringing the jet stream down across the country with that. Just a little bit different in the way the high pressure behaves. But overall, it's another week where we are seeing a change. So the JMA and the CFS V2 are seeing this change in the sort of 3rd week of April. And then as we go through to the next weekly period, going from the 23rd to the 29th of April, well, we've got the trough there, a deep trough of low pressure centred over Scandinavia and to the east of the country. There's a ridge through the central part of the Atlantic. The jet stream is probably going something like that. So we're going on to the cold side of the jet there. And we've got that trough of low pressure close to the country. So it's, again, it's a very slightly different to what the JMA is showing, but more or less, in terms of a broader picture, it's in agreement, which is for it to turn a lot cooler and also a lot more unsettled through that final week of April. Throughout the last few updates that we've been doing for the past couple of weeks, it's always looked like this last week of April is the troublemaker, the one that sort of deviates from what otherwise is a fairly decent month. And that idea is still there within these models. Finally, having a look at the final week period, going from the 30th of April to the 6th of May. Well, we are losing that trough to the east, but it's still there to the west of the country. The jet stream is going something like that. So it's still a relatively unsettled week. It's just a change in the orientation of the flow of the jet stream. It probably lifts the temperatures a bit through that first week of May, but it still is relatively unsettled. We can see how the temperatures stack up with those 500 millibar heights. So for the first week, obviously it's going to be a warmer than average week coming up. Again, particularly focused on England and Wales. We've got those red colours. The next weekly period, this is the week where it all starts to change and the ridge begins to move out to the west and slip to the south. So for that week period, the temperature anomaly is going cooler than average in the north. It's nearer normal in the south. So that's the week of change, if you like, through the third week of the month. And then we go through to that last week where the deep trough is sitting to the east and significantly colder than average week being signalled here. Deep green colours across the country. If you see the scale, which is down here, that's something like 2 to 2.5 degrees below average being indicated there for that final week of April. Would certainly be enough to produce frost if the skies are clear enough and the nights are calm enough. And then finally, for the last weekly period, going from the 30th of April to the 6th of May, remember, the trough is just changing its orientation a little bit, going to the west. So, well, it's still cooler than average week, but the temperature anomaly is coming up. And I say that's because the trough is centred more to the west as opposed to the northeast and the north. So that sends the winds more towards a westerly, which begins to lift the temperatures up. But overall, we've got pretty decent agreement there between the JMA and the CFS, and it's still this idea that after a warm first half to April, it turned, and a lot of dry weather, it turns significantly more unsettled and eventually quite a lot colder as we go through those last 2 weeks of the month. Now, whether this ever actually comes off remains to be seen. These long-range models are experimental. They're not particularly to be relied upon. But it's been such a consistent signal that April's going to play out like this, and you have to say, if it does turn out like this, it will be a very good performance from these longer range models, the CFS and the JMA, because they've been showing this for quite a while. So we're going to have to wait and see, as always. But that's how it's looking, Matt. As we get through to the second half of the month, we'll probably come out with a colder anomaly compared to the first half, which is very unusual for April, because it's normally a month that's warming significantly from the start to the finish. So that will be very unusual. And a lot more unsettled as well as we get through into those final week to 10 days of the month. That's it for now. It's the weekend forecast tomorrow, so come back for that. That's all for now, and thanks for watching. Bye for now.